Earlier we talked about the wiggler, and now we have to talk about its arch enemy, the smoother. The smoother is the anti-wiggler, and instead of having things moving about like you're in an earthquake, it will smooth things out and make things nice and mellow, like listening to jazz. So what I'm going to do here is show you that we have all of these frames that were produced by the wiggler, and what we're going to do is close the wiggler, and we're going to keep all these frames here. And I'm also going to preview this by hitting the spacebar so we can see what the wiggler has done. The wiggler must be stopped. So what I'm going to do now is go to the window menu again and choose Smoother. Like the wiggler, we have the ability to choose where to apply this, either on a temporal graph or a spatial path. And we can also apply the tolerance. But you'll notice that it also doesn't have a whole bunch of the options that the wiggler did have, because it really doesn't do anything but reduce the amount of randomness in the keyframes. So I'm going to click on this little grabber and put the wiggler, or rather the smoother, up here. And once again, let's take a look at all of the keyframes produced by the wiggler. They are still selected. And I'm going to simply leave this at 1 and hit apply. Now just keep your eye down here to see whether or not a tolerance of 1 will do much at all. And we'll give it a couple of seconds to do its math and figure out how much to reduce this. Okay, and I'm going to hit the spacebar. And a tolerance of 1 doesn't really do a whole bunch. That's because we have a lot of keyframes here. And because we have such a high frequency, we don't really have much of a chance to see what the smoother is doing. So we have to increase the tolerance to compensate for the fact that we have so many keyframes so close to one another. So I'm going to bump up the tolerance. Don't forget, with hot text, you can either click once to enter your own number, or you can simply click on the text and slide. So I'm going to choose 125-ish, 24, and once again apply. I'll keep my eye down here and see what's going to happen. We should get a nice reduction of keyframes this time. Okay, as you can see here, with a value of 124, we pretty much knocked out almost everything that we had there in the first place. So that value went way too far, and now the picture is just too smooth. So you have to really play around with this value and experiment. Just keep in mind that if you have a whole bunch of keyframes, when you try to smooth that out, you're going to have to wait just a little while, as I did. So the smoother is pretty much the anti-wiggler, and you'll use this when you found that you've gone too far in the application of the wiggler and you want to just get some of that control back and have less keyframe to deal with.